Alright, welcome back to the SuperCoach Nuff channel. In today's video, just doing a bit of a AFL um, team update. So I guess, final round of pre-season trial matches, I forget what the AFL calls them specifically, have come and gone, and I thought just a bit of a thought on how my team is shaping up off the back of those pre-season matches and looking forward to round one in 10 days time. There you go. So the team's changed a little bit in terms of the structure. So um, sort of found a bit of money to put a gun premium defender in, and I've gone with Tommy Stewart. So it's a bit of a toss-up between himself, Sam Doherty and Jordan Dawson, for who would take that D1 slot. And I've gone with Tom Stewart just because I guess he's probably shown more upside in the past. So um, just I think he is the most popular of the three too. So it's not exactly a point of difference move, but he's served me well in the past. So hopefully he can continue to do so. In saying that, all three of those guys have from time to time. Um, but yeah, I'm going with Tommy Stewart. Um, yeah, pending how it all shakes out over the next 10 days. Nick Dacos is now D2, so did try to sort of maybe look to upgrade him to another uber premium defender, but yeah, just the value I think is there, even though he could get tagged a bit and a bit of attention. I think he'll still do alright, so for 500 grand we'll have him. Elliot Yeo, D3, looks solid enough through the pre-season. There's definitely built-in value there. So yeah, got him there at D3. Um, Lachlan Jones, Liam Jones. There you go. I don't know a lot of these players' names, to be honest. But Liam Jones is now in the D4 slot. So we're sort of looking for someone around that low 200 mark to sort of put their hand up and stake a claim, and it looks like he is the one. I saw he turned up in the practice game over the weekend against North Melbourne, admittedly, but I mean, you've got to be there and doing the business to get the points. So pretty happy to have him in the side. And then Ruben Jimby, yeah, Gimby. I don't know. No one seems to know how to pronounce that name. But yeah, he looked really good too. So from the practice game, so he's in the team. Then I've gone with Connor McKenna. So I think there's going to be one spot available for either him or Wilmot, just depending on who gets the spot there at the line. So I've gone with the more expensive option just to make sure I could cover it in terms of the salary, and I have just. So yeah, so that one's a little bit up in the air, and it could end up being the case of actually being the emergency slot, because Charlie Constable looks a little bit more nailed on for a spot at the Gold Coast there. So yeah, he's definitely the team. I mean, yeah, McKenna could switch to Wilmot if required. And I guess a similar story with D8. So you've got Cowan there from the Blues. It's either him or Sincotta, I think is how you say it. Sincotta would be nice because he's absolute bottom dollar and dual position, which we like. But, again, just in case of emergency, we had to find the money to make sure we could get Cowan. So, I mean, where we got that extra money from in defence did come from the midfield. So we've still got, the sort of two captaincy options there with Bontempelli and Laird. Uh, you know, could have been, Jack McRae still standing, but it makes the loophole a little bit harder when you two captaincy options are both from the same team. So I think Laird is the best sort of locked captaincy option. And the VC, you can have Bont or you can take a punt on one of the other sort of premiums around the team as we get a bit further down. We've got a few more options for VC, I think. But yeah, so they're in the team. Jack Steele, 600k for what he can do. I'm happy to sort of have him as the third premium at a little bit of a discount. Tom Green, he seems to be ready to take that next step up to 600k plus. So at 530, we'll have a bit of that. Jacob Hopper, sort of similar deal. He's going to increase in value. So we've got him there. And then I guess, maybe a little bit of mid-price madness, or at least, top dollar cheapy madness. So we've got Jai Cully, Finn Callahan sort of in that similar bracket. But yeah, I've always been big on Jai Cully, so, kept him in the team as opposed to, just sort of chopping him and the likes of Callahan and then, trying to squeeze in a Jack McRae type. Um, so, managed to get both of them in, which is really good, as on top of Will Ashcroft, obviously. And then on the bench, I've got Cam McKenzie, I'm pretty sure it is, yep. So he looks good for the Hawks at 180. Definitely should kick up in price from there. Will Phillips, he's going right. Maybe, M10's about right. You could argue about 9 if you've got more money elsewhere. And Oscar Baker looks like he's got a spot. And again, he scored well in the trial game. So happy to have him in the midfield. The rucks you can see there, but I will scroll down a bit more. So Ryan Marshall, he was unreal on the weekend, so locked him in. And I guess I have looked at getting a second premium ruck in, but I guess that sort of left my defence quite short. Um, so I've gone with Radicalia just until we can, sort of expose who the best locked in option is, whether that is Jared Witts or Tim English. I did have Sean Darcy in there at one stage, but he has the same buy as Rowan Marshall, so that's not really a set and forget option there. So I thought we'll go with Radicalia. As I said, if I'm chopping someone, it'll probably have to be a Tommy Stewart to let's say Darcy Wilmot plays as well, or Campbell Chesser. So there is still that option, and Radicalia would obviously sort of lob in to one of these spots here. But yeah, so we're going a bit different with the ruck too. Like I said, sort of trying to spread the money across other lines to make up that potential difference. And the loophole Madden at R3. So then to the forwards. So I've ended up going quite big in the forwards. I guess I've talked about it previously. There's not a lot of cheap options that are going to rise in value like you get in midfield and defence. So sort of taken that strategy and pumped it up to another level here. So Dunkley is locked in. I did toy with, leaving him out on the grounds that, he's probably not going to increase in price much, but yeah, it's just you've got to chase those points. So I've gone with him. Rosie and Taranto, they're sort of the more value options. So Cogs is out. Something had to give here when you see the rest of the forward line, so he's out. But in Cogs' place, we've gone with Errol Goulden and Tanner Brown, so they both looked really good on the weekend. Goulden was apparently unreal. So, you got to, I guess, give him a run in the team, see how he goes. And Tanner Brown, yeah, it looks like he's going to play a bigger role this year, so at 311, we'll have a bit of that. Sam Flanders at the moment is at F6, and this is probably the contentious one. It all comes down to whether Tuke Miller gets up for round 1. If he does, there might be some sort of shuffle again. Could be unlucky. Tommy Stewart out, Radicalia into F6 to bring in another ruck. Yeah, so I think probably ideally just chasing one more cheapie in that slot. Gone a bit cold on Toby McLean, but I'll keep him there at F7. still should make some money. And Green from Hawthorn looks like he's locked in for a spot round one. You know, plays well enough to make some money, so we like that. So yeah, that's the team as it sits. As I said, bit sketchy on the F6 slot, R2 sort of area. I mean, yeah, there probably is an option to, if we bump down Tommy Stewart to like a Hayden Young for 100k, Flanders to an absolute um, cheap option. Well, actually, he'd be the one that sort of funds the upgrades. What was that, about 350? Yeah, it'd have to be someone like a Cully, which I'm loath to get rid of for a, maybe like Sin Cotter or one of those real barking basement guys. That only gets me another 170, so 270. So yeah, so I mean, you chop those guys down, add Sam Flanders, you could, get Rodigalia in here and upgrade to a second ruck. But as I said, I'm not convinced on who that is. I've sort of had Jared Witz there most of the time, just because his buy's a little bit nicer with everyone else. But yeah, I think there's a bit of money to be made from a lot of these other options. So yeah, that's sort of where I'm sitting at the moment. Again, it's probably not the best structure. I know that word gets tossed up a bit in AFL SuperCoach circles, but yeah, I guess there to be different. See how it goes. So yeah, so like I said, big on the big five there in the forwards, and Sam Flanders is a maybe. But yeah, there's still 10 days to go, so this will change, no doubt. Particularly, if someone puts their hand up for this slot, and then we can sort of juggle the rest around from there to make it fit. Um, but yeah, that's where I'm at. So feel free to comment if you've got suggestions on who should go there, or if I should change the team up entirely. As I've always stated, AFL is probably not my strong suit, but it's something to do. It's good fun. Like I said, I find it's a little bit more interesting because of the fewer positions. So there's more players to choose from in each position, and the way you, again, to use that word, structure it. Yeah, so like I said, comment, like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that usual rigmarole here on YouTube. And other than that, I'll see you in the next one.